Good evening and welcome. After Ashok Gehlot's all-out attack on his Rajasthan rival Sachin Pilot, whom he repeatedly called Gaddar or traitor, in an exclusive interview to NDTV, the Congress today said that certain words used by Mr. Gehlot were unexpected and surprising. The larger question, however, remains, how does the Congress intend to deal with its crisis in Rajasthan, one that's been going on for so many years, with its two tallest leaders in the state continuing to snipe at one another. On this show, we'll bring you our interview with the senior Congress leader Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who's now reacted to all of the remarks which have made. But before we get to that, I'd like to go across to our panel. Vijay Bansla, the president of the Gurjar Arakshan Sangharsh Samiti, joins us, somebody who has worked very closely with Sachin Pilot in the past. Rashid Kidwai is with us, the senior journalist. We've also got Sanjay Jha, who's been with the Congress party in the past, a former spokesperson of the party. PKD Nambiar also joins us, somebody who supports the BJP. Mr. Bansla, you've seen what has been said by Ashok Gehlot. Sachin Pilot has had a relatively measured sort of response to that. That may have been a deliberate strategy. But where does this actually leave Sachin Pilot within the Congress in Rajasthan?
Well, that's one question which needs to be answered. But the greater question for me is, where does it leave the people of Rajasthan?
Yep.
I mean, for the last 4 years, it's a slugfest. It looks like more of a territorial war than of governance, being very honest to you. We don't see anything new in the papers. Every fortnight, it's the same story in a different packaging. And I believe, as I was saying earlier on the channel as well in the afternoon, it reeks of indecisiveness at the helm, at the Congress, at the center. See, if you have to make a person a CM, make him. If you don't want to make him, don't make him. Have the gumption and the decisiveness to make that statement. I think it's very important.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with two people.
No, but it is, unfortunately, Mr. Bansla, about two people at this stage. It's an intensely personal battle between the two. But what about the allegations, the specific ones which have been made by Mr. Gehlot, that supporters of Sachin Pilot in the past, when he appeared to be rebelling against the party, were in close touch with the BJP, there was money which had been exchanged, etc., etc. It's on the basis of those allegations that he calls him a traitor.
Yes, these are allegations which have been happening. And the best people to talk about it would be the party, because they have the full view of it. We are only getting to hear what we read in the papers. We are getting a story. It's a storyline. But the point which I'm trying to put forward, which I have been reiterating every time, is extreme indecisiveness. Now look at where we are standing today. You know, today we are stopping we have said that we are going to stop the Bharat Jodo Yatra of Mr. Rahul Gandhi.
Right.
It's been 10 days. And can you believe it? There has been no work from the part
but
of
even in
the
that,
state government.
Even in that, Mr. Bansla, you have been accused by some as not working in the interests of, of working perhaps in the interests of the BJP. Why would you want to stop something like that? How does that help anything?
Absolutely, I will stop it. I'll tell you the reason why. The agreement was done 4 years back. We have been moving pillar to post in the government. And now that Mr. Rahul Gandhi is here, why don't you do it? We are not asking for anything new. It's the same thing which was written down 4 years back, signed by the cabinet ministers of the government.
So you will use this occasion now to further your objectives, your larger objectives, which you insist have not been made. I'll come back to you on this in just a moment. Sanjay Jha, the fact that no action has been taken against any of the leaders in the Congress who were grossly indisciplined a few months back. They offered to resign. They went to the governor's house. They said they wouldn't listen. They would only have Mr. Gehlot as the chief minister, etc., etc. And now you have Mr. Gehlot apparently in a position where he believes he can get away by saying anything he wants. What does that indicate about the Congress? Is he bigger than the party?
Well, Vishnu, I completely agree with what Mr. Bansla has said. The reason why the Congress finds itself in this kind of a gridlock, or what I call as a rabbit hole, is because for a long time they have believed that procrastination or keeping things under the rug is a smart political acumen. It is not. It boomerangs on you. And everybody and their uncle and auntie know for the last 4 years that Sachin Pilot has been disgruntled because although Mr. Gehlot's leadership has resulted in 2 wipeouts for the Congress in Rajasthan, he was made the chief minister for the 3rd time. Now, this is not just an ego battle. I think Sachin has rightly believed that he has a legitimate right to have been made chief minister in 2000, 4 years ago. And even now, the Congress is basically dilly-dallying. To cut the long story short, Vishnu, Mr. Gehlot in actually encouraging an internal rebellion within the Rajasthan camp, just because he wanted to be both the Congress president and the Rajasthan chief minister, I believe committed political suicide. The Gandhi family now doesn't trust him. And I think the Congress has to take a call, as Mr. Bensler rightly said. Who do you want to be the chief minister's face when you go for the elections next year? Is it going to be Mr. Gehlot or Mr. Pilot? And the Congress has to take a call on that right away. I believe Mr. Gehlot is a political liability. And the very fact that he's rebelling today, he's sending a message to the Gandhi family and to High Command that if you make Sachin the chief minister, he's drawing the line in the sand that I'm now capable of anything. He's basically throwing the gauntlet. He's challenging the Congress leadership in a pretty brazen and a blatant fashion.
Rashid Kidwai, is Rajasthan increasingly looking like a lost cause for the Congress? We've seen the party disintegrate in Punjab, lose the elections over there. And we've seen this infighting within in Rajasthan for such a long time. The BJP at this juncture doesn't really need to do very much. It just appears that the party is disintegrating within Rajasthan at a time when they should be working hard on the elections. Is that a fair assessment?
Vishnu, I think that amounts to prejudging the Congress prospects in Rajasthan. At present, what we are seeing is a masterly inequity. The Congress may have, dubbed, they may not be remembering P.V. Narasimha Rao, but they believe in that inaction is an action in itself. Second thing is the Congress, what constitutes the Congress High Command now? The Gandhis think, they have not made a public declaration, but they think that they are out of it and now it is for Mr. Kharge. Mr. Kharge, like a seasoned congressman, is looking for a signal from Gandhis on what to do. So therefore, you see, nobody is doing, they're playing a kind of political kho-kho. In that process, nobody is addressing, and you have Jairam Ramesh who's saying, oh, let that, two of them work together. If that was a solution, then that solution was available 5 years ago, 4 years ago, in July 2020 and now. But that's not working. So the Congress is trying to administer homeopathy medicine when some kind of surgery is required.
PKD Nambiar, the serious allegations of Mr. Gehlot had to do with the BJP apparently being involved in the past with supporters of Sachin Pilot. Apparently there was money which was exchanged and there was an effort to bring down the Congress, and Sachin and his supporters were part of it. These are very serious allegations. How would the BJP respond to this?
I can only say Vinash Kale Vipreet Putti. Congress is already on a suicide spree. I think in most part of the country it's already irrelevant, and it is now adding fuel. Some of these senior leaders in the interview, Ashok Gehlot, he himself was talking about that he had been given everything by the party, 3-time chief ministership, 2-time the central the minister and PCC president, so on, so everything. Once he has got everything, it is for the party because the high command is so weak today that they do not even have the courage and the capability to take on a strong stand on a chief minister who is questioning the authority multiple times, not once and multiple times. Secondly, this allegation of BJP as a part of this whole picture, I can only ask the sitting chief minister is putting up this claim that he has got the evidence. The last 2.5 years, Vishnu, what was he doing if he has got the evidence of this corruption? The same people with whom he is alleging to, they are a part of his own cabinet. 2 or 3 of those people who were in that rebellion group of Sachin Pilot's group is a part of his ministry. I think he is actually spitting on himself, and which is very clear and evident that he is ready to quit the Congress, and or either Congress have to kick him out, or otherwise he is almost ready to go out of the Congress. I think the weak Congress leadership, and Mallikarjun Kharge, where is he? We don't even know whether there is a new president, democratically elected president of Congress president. Where is he? What is his stand?
Okay, let's get Mr. Bensler in over here. Isn't that the problem, that at the top level of the Congress, at the level of the new party president, there is absolutely no response. There's absolute silence. Yes, they are now reacting to this, saying that the words used by Mr. Gehlot were unexpected. But the fact that it's unlikely that there's going to be any serious action taken on what Mr. Gehlot has said.
I don't think there has been much of a change. It's the same story in a different wording. Otherwise, something would have happened by now. Just imagine, I'm coming back to what I was saying earlier. We are about to stop Rahul Gandhi's yatra in Rajasthan, and everybody knows about it. And the central leadership is waiting for it to happen. Can you imagine?
So Sachin Pilot doesn't want you to actually do that.
What are we talking about?
No, Pilot doesn't want you to...
I guess they want it to happen.
No. So Pilot doesn't want you to do that. So when Pilot says, look, don't do that, don't stop the Bharat Jodo Yatra, you don't seem to be willing to listen to him or that side.
This is not an individual's. Please understand. This is not an individual's part. This is the community at large. We are talking about the interests of the community, not of an individual. Please understand this.
So you're absolutely
very important
certain that you're going to block...
And perhaps the community comes first every time and each time.
Okay, so you're going to block the rally, right? Block the yatra, you're absolutely certain about that.
Absolutely, it's going to happen.
Is there any...
Absolutely certain. Right now, as we speak, I'm in the field. I'm on the exact road on which Rahul Gandhi is going to be traveling. And I've been doing it for the last 7 days.
All right. Rashid Kidwai, so that's a crisis which the Congress faces.
Ashok Gehlot is supporting for this stoppage, if I may? Do you have the blessings of Ashok Gehlot? I don't know, I'm just jumping the gun.
I have nobody's blessing. The point which I'm trying to put forward.
But that is the allegation.
Sir,
you have the blessings of Ashok.
Ashok.
Whose blessings do you have in doing this?
I'm coming to that.
Some say that you have the
nobody's
BJP's blessings.
I have the people's blessings to ask for what is right. I'm asking for nothing new. I'm asking for a sitting government to execute what it has signed in trust.
Okay.
And it is not some bureaucrat.
All right. So that will be another crisis that the Congress will have to face.
That is
Mr.
going to happen.
Bessla refusing to actually get off the highway. But Rashid Kidwai, let me ask you this. Among the two leaders, you've got Sachin Pilot, who's a very strong ground level worker and leader of the Congress. On the other hand, you've got Ashok Gehlot, who enjoys the support of the vast majority of MLAs. When this crisis a few months took place, Sachin hardly had a few MLAs supporting him. In that situation, are you left with a strong ground level leader who, for whatever the reasons maybe, doesn't have the support of his party within the state?
Vishnu, we must understand that in the Congress history, the entire post-independence history, there are not many chief ministers who have had support of their own. Perhaps Mr. Devraj Ars was an exception. At that time, Indira Gandhi was out of power. But normally, the Congress MLAs tend to side with the Congress leadership. Moreover, the right to punish MLA or MLAs is a prerogative of the AICC. The chief minister does not have a locus standi on that. Now, when you say that Gaddar is being tolerated and promoted, and some Gaddar supporters are being inducted as state ministers, etc., that means you are pointing an accusing finger to the leadership. But that's the Congress internal matter. I think the Congress likes this kind of drama. They would think that if Mr. Bansala goes on and tries to block the Bharat Jodo Yatra, they will showcase it as a kind of sign of vibrant, participating democracy, where each character has its own, role to play and free to do so. We saw what happened in Punjab and the political consequences of it. So that is something, I think that is disturbing, and Rahul Gandhi is totally, in that sense, indifferent about whether the Congress, has government in two states or in none. He thinks that Bharat Jodo, that kind of, principle that he is walking or marching on, they are far too important. And Mr. Kharge is looking for a direction. That's the long and short of the Congress party.
All right. Sanjay Jha, so going forward, how do you see the Congress actually being in a position to make a real mark in the elections? Or is it just a straight... is there a sense of the party being in a hopeless position, something they may have accepted?
Vishnu, I do believe that what the election outcome will be is very difficult to predict, because we all know that Rajasthan is a swing state. So the headwinds are definitely against the Congress if you follow that traditional pattern of voting. But, still early days. I do believe that the Gandhi family, though, have probably made up their mind to back Sachin Pilot and make him the chief minister, which is why you're finding Mr. Gehlot become highly belligerent. You know, it was a coup what Vishnu pulled off, or what Vasu pulled off for you guys in NDTV, because this is now the headline of the day. But the truth is, there is a reason why Mr. Gehlot has actually gone, as they say, you know, the full 9 yards in trying to make Sachin Pilot look like a traitor, etc., etc. That's a very vulgar and a crude assault. But please remember that Mr. Gehlot has not, you know, abused or maligned Sachin in the past in softer terms. The issue, however, for Mr. Gehlot is that the Gandhis have lost confidence in him. They know that he's not a man they can trust anymore. They had to apologize to the Congress president. And they all know it. Everybody knows it, that Mr. Gehlot is a political baggage now in the run-up to the Rajasthan elections. The Congress needs to take a bold call. They need to not repeat the blunder of what happened in Punjab. And I don't think Sachin will be happy to be kept waiting and to be made chief minister 4 months before the elections.
I think what is really surprising is the timing. Congress fighting elections in Gujarat at this stage, the Bharat Jodo Yatra taking place at a time like this. Ashok Gehlot, who himself has been on the election campaign, decides to come up and hit out at his political rival within his party. That is bizarre timing. Mr. Besla, I'm out of time. That's because I want to play out this interview with Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who I spoke to a little while back.
Can I just give me? May I, Vishnu?
PKD, just 30 seconds. I really have to move.
No, I'm only saying that, yes, you said right now that the timing of it. Just imagine that a political leader is threatening the central leadership of a particular party multiple times. You just imagine this, if this was happening in BJP or even in any of the left parties. What could have been the by now that person must have been thrown out.
So PKD, you have an open field over here. There's nobody from the Congress to take you on this. That's because they aren't participating.
No, I'm asking that there is nobody.
Okay, PKD, half a second, Mr. Besla, quickly, sir.
Quickly, when you're talking about the upcoming elections, I'll just tell one thing. 75 Vidhan Sabhas out of 200 in Rajasthan have got 30,000 to 78,000 votes of the MBC community, which is including Gujars, Gaddariyas, Rebaris and the Banjaras. That is the impact you need to look forward to. Trust you me on this.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank you all.
And they are consolidated now.
I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us. Let's just listen in to what Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi had to say, the Congress reacting to those remarks made by Ashok Gehlot. Joining us now, Senior Leader Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi. Thanks, sir, very much for being with us. Dr. Singhvi, does the Congress accept the remarks made by Ashok Gehlot?
First, let me tell you that, as you know, I was chairing a parliamentary committee, so I have to do this from a car and relative darkness.
That's fine, sir.
The answer to your question is, look, I understand that this is an NDTV exclusive, but I would request you humbly that this doesn't need to be played up all the time. This was an event. I think it is now all died down, and people realize that harsh words spoken in the context of what might have been thought at that time to be a innocent exchange are now being carried on every day. I don't think there is, in that sense, any crisis brewing. I must, of course, say, as everybody knows, that the relationship between the two gentlemen has not been at all very hunky-dory, and that is a well-known fact. Everybody knows that. But to suggest from that the whole Congress unit is not functioning and not fighting ultimately for a all-out victory and a repetition despite the incumbency, I think is wrong. People realize that all these fights are meaningless and trivial.
But it appears, Dr. Singhvi, that the two protagonists in this matter, Mr. Pilot and Mr. Gehlot, are intent on carrying on the battle with each other. Where does that leave the Congress and the state?
No, I don't think that's true.
He called him a Gaddar 6 times in the interview, sir.
If you are playing up your interview, I don't think it is meant in the sense in which you are saying it.
No, but sir, how could it be meant in any other sense? And of course we are playing up the interview. I mean, you've got a chief minister calling another person who was supposed to have been the chief minister in Rajasthan a traitor 6 times in an interview.
Tell you, first of all, 2 or 3 points very quickly. First of all, you saw that the reaction of Mr. Pilot could have been, equally aggressive. It was very measured and controlled, despite all the provocations when you thrust the mic below his face. Secondly, I think Mr. Gehlot meant that incident. He didn't mean Gaddar in any other sense except that there was a period of time when Mr. Pilot was considered a rebel. So to suggest that from there he is using it literally in the larger legal sense, I think is not right. But in any case...
No, but he's made a lot of allegations about Sachin Pilot as well and his associates and their alleged association or link with the BJP. The fact that money may have been exchanged in the past from the BJP, something the BJP itself has denied. But the allegations are strong. And when he says traitor or Gaddar, he refers to betraying the Congress party.
What the party thinks or does in this context is for the party to decide. There are bodies and there are committees in the party. But I'm making two
Dr.
things
Singhvi, the party has not done anything.
Both of them, no, they don't need to do anything if they find that both of them have been talked to, both of them have realized that the larger goal is more important, and both of them have de-escalated this.
Can you confirm, sir, because this is important. Can you confirm that both have been spoken to after this interview?
I'm saying NDTV has escalated it. They are de-escalating.
No, sir. Forget about NDTV, sir. We just asked the questions. I mean, let's not get into that. But you made a point, sir, and whatever you say is always correct, I'm sure. So therefore, can you confirm that the Congress leadership has reached out to Mr. Gehlot and Mr. Pilot and told them to control things? Yes or no?
I am not confirming anything of the sort. What I am saying is that there are always back-channel communications within the party at appropriate fora, and everybody realizes the larger goal of working for the Congress. That sentiment has been expressed even by Mr. Pilot yesterday, and you will see in the days to come that this will be a thing of the past. And ultimately, it'll happen.
All right. So let me summarize this, because I don't want to misquote you. Number one, there is a back channel which exists within the Congress. That back channel is working towards perhaps resolving this issue, and in the days to come, we will see that this is an issue of the past. Is that accurate?
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
Right. Now, where does that leave Sachin Pilot, who was meant to be Chief Minister of the state? Mr. Gehlot was meant to be possibly contesting for the post of party president. He chose not to do that. That issue, which is the core issue, remains unresolved.
I think that's not a fair interpretation. Okay. Where do you get these decisions that he was to be Chief Minister? I think you are having some special access to some special knowledge that he was to
was
change.
He not? Was that not what was the expectation, sir?
At one time, it was possible and likely that amongst the people who would be filing, it would be Mr. Gehlot. He decided not to file it. That's all in the open. But to suggest that, X was to become and Y replaced him or vice versa, that's too much of speculation. That certainly was not.
Did that conversation not exist within the Congress party? That this is how it would be structured in Rajasthan?
I will actually put it like this. Things had quieted down and people were working towards the election when NDTV got a scoop. Now, whether NDTV...
Sir, you are shooting the messenger, sir, for a scoop. That's hardly the point. But where does this leave the Congress ahead of the Rajasthan elections? Your two tallest leaders in Rajasthan are fighting with each other. All right, Sachin Pilot's language was very measured. Gehlot's language was certainly not. What are your own supporters in the state expected to believe?
The Congress is looking forward. Don't ask us to look backward. And today, as I said, the 3 points which you have quoted me fairly and reasonably should be the takeaways. We will make sure that harmony to the extent possible will be restored. There has been this static, I would say an aberration for a short while. I don't think we should now look back. We have to look forward, and that's all been, both people, all stakeholders realize that there's no use fighting on these things unless you deal with the larger issue.
One or two more questions, Dr. Singhvi. There's been no action which has been taken against the bulk of your legislators in Rajasthan after they defied the party whip, went to the governor's house, said that they were willing to resign. This is something, for example, Ajay Maken has been very upset about. As we understand it, that was the primary reason why he chose to withdraw from the role that he had in the Congress party in Rajasthan. How will the party deal with that issue of insubordination among so many of your leaders?
A couple of things, Vishnu.
Yeah.
One is that matter is in a technical sense still pending with the appropriate authorities. Secondly, not taking action may also well be a decision. Thirdly...
Is it a decision, sir?
No, not taking a decision for the time being is a decision in itself. But the point
Not
is,
taking a decision is a decision by
for the
itself.
time, I said for the time being,
Okay.
there are larger issues to be considered. Elections are around the corner, and I think energies and focus is being devoted to that. But I cannot say that that issue is closed. That issue is pending, and let the appropriate authority of the committee which deals with it take a decision. Finally.
Do you believe, sir, one final question, the new Congress president, Mr. Kharge, should be seen saying a lot more in firefighting this issue, the issue of differences within or between these two leaders?
I would say absolutely not. I think he's doing the right thing. He's not falling into possibly the trap of speaking to channels in the way to further escalate it. And I think he realizes that both stakeholders and the larger set of stakeholders in Rajasthan have realized that this is a much more trivial matter compared to the larger issue. And I think that reticence and that restraint which Mr. Kharge is showing, the right approach.
All right.